The impact of generative AI under scrutiny as some investors question massive capex spending in the space. Reid Hoffman, the co-founder of Manus AI and author of Super Agency, What Could Possibly Go Right with Our AI Future, joins us now. Reid, it's good to see you.
Great to be here.
I said as you walked into the room, that is a book I need to read. What could go right? Because I'm very worried about what things could go wrong. Let's put it that way. You, in the book, approach something really important. That as we make these technological revolutions, these advancements over human history, actually, it benefits human agency. And I'm worried that maybe with AI, it goes in a different direction. Help me out and tell me why it could go right.
Well, the short answer is it gives you superpowers, right? And it gives you superpowers across a large number of things. Everyone should go try ChatGPT, Inflection's Pi, Anthropic's Claude. Give it a try. You can find what should I make for dinner? How do I get medical advice that's available to me? How might I have a difficult conversation with a colleague? You know, how might I actually do things in parenting that might be different? You know, all of those things are superpowers that we get.
Are you throwing Lisa under the bus?
I am.
Lisa, do you want to share with the audience what you do?
You can manipulate what your kids look at if you send them links to things that then change their algorithms that then give them more news feeds in their feed. I mean, there are ways that you can kind of play the system a little bit, and I think that that's proper.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, it helps them learn. It gets them news about the environment around them. I mean, this is one of the things is if you're not actually, in fact, using these AI agents to learn right now, you should. And like, for example, one of the ways that I do when I approach a difficult subject, say, for example, quantum computing, I stick a technical paper in, and I say, explain this to me like I'm 12. Superpowers.
Superpowers.
Yes.
Okay, so my next question was going to be, how should we participate in how we shape this intelligence? And Lisa has given us one idea. Could you give us another?
Well, I think part of the key thing is that my very first chapter is about ChatGPT, where humanity enters the chat. You've got hundreds of millions of people who are interacting with it, and the company watches what works and what doesn't work, and then improves it. So by simply going and experimenting and getting which kind of things are the things that help you elevate your agency, then actually, in fact, helps the company know, oh, these things really work. Oh, these things need to be improved.
At the same time, you talk about technical papers, and one thing that AI does really well is work with technical details, not so much the social, not so much when you have to have certain biases that are baked into some of these algorithms. What are the limitations to this in sort of broad-based application at a time where people are saying this could do qualitative jobs and there could potentially be a lot of biases baked in? So
every major group is working intensely on biases. And actually one of the things that we did with Inflection and Pi, personal intelligence, pun intended, was to teach it to be kind and empathetic, to have EQ as important as IQ. And actually, you see that now in Anthropic's Claude and other things as it's kind of spreading. And so you can actually have these kinds of interactions, be trained in them, and this is kind of reinforcement learning by human feedback, to actually be much better than your average human.
The reason why I find this so fascinating is because I think about my children and what careers they potentially could have. And I'm like, no, not programmer, because that's going to be dead. You know, all of these other ones, probably if you can be empathetic, human, those human skills are probably going to be more needed. That's what people are saying. Are you saying those two are going to go out the window? I mean, what does this do to employment?
So first, I actually think programming jobs aren't going out the door. I think there's human amplification, but I think it's also human amplification of like EQ as well. So the fact that you have for example, say a medical assistant that can help you with something, or a coach that might be able to talk with something, doesn't mean you don't want a human coach. It's more coaches the better, right? And being able to make it work.
You're talking about AI for the good.
Yes.
But what about AI in the hands of adversaries?
Well, so superpowers for terrorists, superpowers for criminals, superpowers for rogue states. That's one of the things that we need to be careful about how we navigate. Once again, all of the major groups actually have security groups that are working on this to try to make sure, and that's, I think, part of the having so-called red teaming plans and kind of trying to make sure that that's is minimized as much as possible.
But how do you think the U.S. government should be approaching this? The market's freaked out because of DeepSeek and how much potentially the CCP is putting money into their version of AI. But when you're in China and you want to look at things on DeepSeek that are potentially critical to the CCP, it will not show you. So how does the U.S. government go about this?
Well, so I think it's important that the U.S. government kind of continue some of the threads that the previous executive order did, which is, you have red teaming things, that you actually do world leadership about what kind of things are happening. I mean, there's connections in the UK AI Safety Institute and the US one and the French one, and I think these are important to do. But I think that this is one of the things where there will be multiple AIs, and part of the reason why I want AI not to just be artificial intelligence or amplification intelligence, but also American intelligence as part of what we're doing.
What do you make then of the tech industry being very close to this administration? I'm not just talking about your former friend Elon Musk. I was at the White House yesterday and Bill Gates was walking into the West Wing for meetings. Do you think they can help the administration basically get to there faster when it comes to safe AI?
In the short, absolutely. I think it's, if you said of any kind of Western democracy government in the world, most especially, of course, American presidency, American government, should they be connected with the tech industry, talking about how tech's creating the future? What are the things that we can do to make better American industry, better American society, better lives for American citizens? The short answer is absolutely.
What do you make of the backlash against Elon Musk more recently about his involvement with government?
Well, in government, the move fast and break things maybe should be, a little bit more compassionate and judicious.
Is that what you think the approach should be?
I think that the question should be is trying to say, hey, look, there's a reason government doesn't work like companies, even though I think there's efficiency that's really good, and we need to respect those reasons too.
Do you feel that you're going to basically get some sort of repudiation because of where your politics were ahead of this election, and given how Trump has basically cozied up to a lot of individuals in the tech world? I have not seen you yet at Mar-a-Lago at inauguration or walking into the West Wing.
Look, I think the thing that we most want as American citizens is for our government to succeed for our industry, succeed for our citizens. And so that's what I most want. And I think we all do.
You have been an incredible investor. You were an early investor in OpenAI. You invested in LinkedIn. You just so many of the behemoths currently. Do you see a lot of upstarts right now that look like they could become the next big thing in some of this machine learning technology?
So the short answer is yes, although picking them is one of the difficult things about being a venture capitalist, and there's a lot of different options. Back, a few years ago, I was arguing that we were 5 large tech companies heading to 10, but I wouldn't necessarily have predicted that NVIDIA would have so quickly become one of those, into the 7 and then going to 10. And so I think we are in that progress, and I think there are a number of startups that are creating amazing technology, and then the question is product market fit at scale.
What do you think the next technological evolution is going to be that could potentially be a sort of ChatGPT moment or a DeepSeek moment or one of these sort of breakthrough ahas?
One of the things I think we're going to see this year, all of the major AI companies are working on amplifying coding. And one of the things, like, for example, for your kids, other things will be, yes, you have to bring it up, will be actually, all of us will have a software engineering assistant, and that will make all of our work a lot better. And that's one of the things I think hasn't yet entered the consciousness. So I think that's one of the things that's coming. And then, of course, with what I'm doing with Manus, I'm hopeful that we will have some really great early results in curing cancer.
And how we can accelerate the scientific process. And
Yes.
I think we're all up with you on that page. I hope you're
1,000%.
very successful. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate your time.